What's cooking, y'all? I'm Casserole J, and today we are going to yap about Jason. I'm not really going to go over the patch notes because there isn't a lot to talk about, and this is definitely going to be way much of a shorter video than our usual kind, because there's not that much to talk about from the PTB. Almost nothing really changed. But yeah, I want to talk about Jason because I just played a couple matches with him, and then the queue times became like 20 minutes, so I decided to hop off. But yeah, I did get to play him a little bit, and my initial thoughts are pretty dang fun. He definitely feels very polished up from the PTB, both in his animations and to his model, to his gameplay. He did receive a couple of nerfs. A few of his add-ons got nerfed. A few of them got buffed. I think the only nerf that I really felt substantially was when you cancel throwing your spear, you get a lot of slowdown, which honestly is kind of fine because you're moving 115 most of the time, you know, if you're using your ability. Model-wise, he looks way bigger. That's one thing people were complaining about. His head didn't really change size, which kind of sucks, but yeah, he definitely, I kind of turned him sideways. He looks way thicker, way more massive, and just like way more broad-shouldered, so a lot more Jason-like. I don't know if the mask got any polish, but definitely looks more clean. Maybe it's just an effect of me being like, oh, the new update. Yeah, his animations are looking much better. They did change his M1 animation, which I really hated, the original one, so I'm really glad they changed it around a bit. It looks a lot more satisfying and interesting now. They fixed his Mori up a little bit because his Mori kind of looked janky with the movements. I didn't get to see his mini Moris, but I'm assuming those got fixed up a bit as well. So yeah, it looks like they did quite a bit of polish on the animations, which I'm very happy about. The new Survivor is not out yet. I believe he's coming around the anniversary, which that's going to be a whole nother video that I'm posting soon, because that's going to be a long yap video about me talking about the different changes and upcoming things and how I was right about like 80% of the stuff. I was right about like a pretty big chunk of stuff, and then the other stuff was stuff I wanted to happen but knew wouldn't. But yeah, my first match I played, I just did Adept Jason, and all my perks were tier 1. I basically got no value out of the perks. I'll talk a bit about the perks at the end. And yeah, I got a solid 4K at 2 gens for my first match ever with him. He felt way easier to use in full release with the aiming and throwing. It felt a lot more accurate and steady, and I guess I wasn't going against survivors that were very good playing against Jason, but let's be real, no one really is yet, because not a whole lot of people played the PTB, so that felt nice. He also came with 3 Twitch drops, which is really cool. You get like a banner, a badge, and a charm, which is cool. Right now I currently have Hen's live stream going, because happy birthday, Hens. I know you aren't watching this, but at the time I'm recording this, it's your birthday. But yeah, I felt very smooth around the map. His model is, like I said, pretty big and buff, so you kind of bump into a lot of like rounded objects a little more. I noticed was one thing when I was trying to do momentum techs. Very hard to do that on him because of how big he is. You kind of get stuck on a lot of stuff. Yeah, and then the second match, I got a solid 4K at, I think it was 4 gens. That team was they were not bad, but they just kept giving up for some reason. He feels so much smoother. I have no complaints. I'm a little sad he got these miniature nerfs because I don't think he needed them, but I guess it's whatever. Everyone else thinks he's high A tier. I think he's like B+ at best. Maybe I'm just not good. Like, and that's coming from someone who's been winning pretty thoroughly. I've seen good survivors go against him. It's just like, he's just another projectile killer. The projectile, like I said, much more reliable. I love that. It looks like the collision on the walls with the hooks was a little bit better for me. Objects that it wouldn't have sensed before, they were now sticking to them, which is super good because that's one thing I was actually complaining about in the PTB. His perks. Now here's where the problem really hits. His perks didn't really get changed. The only perk that got changed was instead of 13 seconds of undetectable at the start of the trial, which wasn't very good, they made it after you hook a survivor, you get 13 seconds of undetectable, which honestly isn't that bad on some high mobility killers. I wouldn't say it's great on him because you're using Omnipresent Evil most of the time, which, by the way, they did polish up Omnipresent Evil, and that is cool. Now it's like once you fully came out of the animation, that's when it plays the jump scare and you get the effect and the haste. Really glad they did that because it just gives you a bit more time. Yeah, I feel like Jason is the epitome of a very balanced killer right now. I don't think he's very strong, but I don't think he's very weak. I think him and Freddy are probably the like perfect definition of middle ground killers. I don't really have any complaints. Would I have minded if they went a little stronger? Not really, but you know, people would have complained. I think Jason was pretty safe. But yeah, his perks, I was a little disappointed that his perks didn't really get buffed number-wise. None of them are very impressive, and I don't really see myself using them almost ever unless it's like for a specific build. And by the time you've gotten 13 tokens from being stunned 13 times, the match is over, and there's still 20 more pallets to go through. So Yeah, no, just, and then you have to perform a basic break. If they would buff it and make it any kind of break, I feel like that already would make it, like, at least usable. But for some reason, Behavior is afraid of giving killers, you know, perks that they're gonna use. But yeah, I played on him. You might see some background game footage of me playing as him, and he's just, honestly, I had fun. I didn't, like I said, I only played a couple matches, but I had a lot of fun. I've been watching some other streamers play him, and it looks like everyone's just kind of having fun. You know, I'm already getting a lot of survivors giving up and complaining, though, which is crazy, because, like, he's already gotten nerfed before he was even released. It's like, I don't know. I feel like no one wants to actually learn how to play against the new killer, or, like, take time to learn how to... He's not really that different. Like, I remember when I played the PTB, I was looping him quite well, because he's just really a different kind of projectile killer. That's really all it comes down to. You just play him like you would almost anyone else. But yeah, design, pretty solid. Cosmetics, not my favorite. Perks, absolutely abysmal. Power, honestly, pretty solid. I do enjoy his power. I think it's fun. I think it's a good mix of strong, but not that strong. And I do love how the projectiles feel. They're very satisfying to hit a long shot. Well, I'm like, it's perfect. I love it. Honestly, things I think I could use improving. Really, all I would do is make it so that when he comes out of Omnipresent Evil to break a pallet, I'd make it like slightly faster, maybe. I'd go ahead and just make it 5% haste, because right now it's 4.5. I'd just make it 5% to make him 115. Maybe extend the haste, you get a little bit more. And yeah, that's really all I would do. I don't think he needs like a whole lot of crazy buffs or nerfs. Like, I think he's, like I said, he's just very, very solid. And I am excited to play him more in the queue times. I'm excited to play against him in live release, because I was looping him pretty well in the PTB in his strongest state, so I'm curious how he's going to feel now. I do love going against him and playing him. I think Jason's just a very fun, safe character. Overall with the patch, though, like I said, I don't want this to be a super long video, but overall with the patch, I'm not very happy, because I feel like they didn't really do anything aside from Jason. The lobby's very cool, I forgot to say. The lobby's very cool. Apparently, we were supposed to get some sort of bloody portrait after hitting Prestige 10 for our characters, and that didn't come out. And I guess I don't know if I think people said a dev confirmed it, and multiple people were saying it, like leakers, and then a dev came out and said it on Reddit. But hey, that rhymed. So like and subscribe because I rhymed. But it wasn't there, so I don't know if that's just a complete lie that someone made up, and then everyone thought it was real and spread that, or if it was supposed to come out and something happened. One thing I will say that is really cool about Jason is they gave him a lot more sounds. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this yet, but when you get stunned or you get hits, it makes like the high-strung violin sounds, or like he makes, like, that's really cool to me, because I couldn't give him voice lines. So he gets stunned, you just hear it's like, I thought that was really clever. I had a little laugh at that. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know, because like that's an interesting idea. I feel like that fits well. It would have been obviously super awesome if we could have gotten Pamela Voorhees saying stuff like hook them Jason, but this was Jason Universe, and unfortunately due to licensing there was literally nothing Behavior could do about that. So I think they did, you know what, I think they did good with what they had. That's what I will say. Moris of course are sick. Yeah, really my disappointment overall is with the patch. Like, nothing else really changed. They added Jason, that was basically it. They did do some bug fixes, which, you know, I like. They did fix some perks, but other than that, no crazy changes, no balance changes, which is fine because it's a mid chapter patch of like a character. But I'm a little, you know, like, it's like we didn't get anything else. It's a very small chapter. Yeah, comment down below what you think about Jason, what you would like changed, and how overall satisfied you are with the update, because I do love reading comments, and you guys really enjoyed the last Dead by Daylight videos that I made, so I will gladly await your comments here. And also, you should definitely consider liking and subscribing, because we're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers soon, and as always, I do appreciate all the support that I can get. I'm just a small dude trying to make it in the world, so if you would help us out, that does mean a lot. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.